Welcome to Shut Up Football. I'm Jeff Stoltzfus. That's Kevin. Last week, the Jaguars got their biggest win of the season. Their first. Just in time, they're about to get exported. The Chiefs remain one of two undefeated teams, which is no surprise, but the Vikings are. So I guess that's our Super Bowl? Not sure how that works. And Kirk Cousins finally played up to his pay grade. Here we go with the roast of the NFL's Week 5.
And lo, the football gods were merciful on this day. It was the least Thursday night football game in the history of Thursday night football games. 900 yards of offense, 7 touchdowns. You could fry an egg off it. Kirk Cousins found his timing. I assume through a lot of snapping and head bobbing. Or perhaps a magical metronome imbued with the power of Steely Dan. Who is this graphic for? Some lazy friend who favors his right side? It was raining tutties all night. Mike Evans caught his 100th touchdown, and he threw it to a fan. You better sprint for the exits, homeboy, before Stadium Goons try to trade that ball for $50 in Papa John's coupons. Before the game, Baker Mayfield watched videos of Mike Tyson fights to get him hyped, and after, interviews with him to bring him back down. They tried to convince Drake London of dolphin-safe tuna, but he wasn't having it. Dorsals bring the flavor. They tossed Katie Hartung out of the rafters, an offering to the demon that lives under Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
35 sweep left.
Arthur Blank provided the answer. What would Dracula look like if he owned a bank? Ludacris was there.
Whatever.
Don't slam your helmet. That thing protects your head noodles.
Two getting loose.
This game went to overtime, and Daryl Hodge provided a bigger surprise than a Mountain Dew bidet. Let the looting begin. Everyone gets a Falcon. The Falcons scored Kirk Cousins' exact age. Not suspicious at all. Cousins threw 58 passes and broke Matt Ryan's Falcon record with over 500 yards. Where's Shaq with the icy hot? Freeze that arm like Captain America. It probably looks like an old dog's leg. But first, time to get tipsy with Crunk Cousins. Welcome to London. It was a home game for the Vikings. Look at these people, desperate to find a beat. Jared Allen led them in the skull chant, which as we all know is Viking for blow. Sam Darnold finally came back to earth. No touchdowns, 1 interception. Not to worry, they have playmakers everywhere. Andrew Van Ginkel had the sticky fingers. He stole a Rodgers pass and housed it for 6. On the point after, the cameraman got confused about which uprights to shoot. There's 2? With Darnold struggling, they leaned on the other white meat, CJ Ham. Rodgers was rolled like a fat spliff. He hurt his... I don't know, whatever, he's back. You can't keep Rodgers off the field. He was born for this. And when he was, he slapped the doctor and told him he was in the pocket of Big Pharma. The Jets lost after Rodgers threw 3 interceptions. And we all know just who to blame. Robert Saleh. It was his last game as the head coach of the New York Jets. He barely made it out of customs before he had the misfortune of being fired by a man named Woody. The Panthers called their best play early, a straight line. Chuba Hubbard nailed it. You should see him during sobriety checkpoints. Fucking perfect. Unfortunately, the offensive line wasn't as good at pass blocking. Andy Dalton took a beating like a red-headed stepchild, which maybe he is. I do not know his familial situation. Eventually, he gave way to Bryce Young, who ain't getting any younger or taller. Caleb Williams was showing progress. 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He connected with DJ Moore for big scores. Roshan Johnson showcased his skills as guy who gets 1 yard or less. It resulted in 2 scores. They said DeAndre Swift had a great screenplay, and I got excited by the possibility of a crossover featuring Air Bud and John Wick. But alas, it was just a pass play, and it's too late. I already sent my reel out. Why do they notify us that every scoring play is reviewed if every scoring play is reviewed? I insist you start that sentence with "as you know," or at least treat it like a fortune cookie and end it with "in bed." Austin Eckler was back, and he was tearing through this defense like a perineum during a birth. This game was as lopsided as your sister's chest. There is no easy way to say this. Deshaun Watson sucks. He's also not a good quarterback, and they had the numbers to back it up. Cleveland is notoriously a tough city to find a mute masseuse with no internet access. The Commanders run the most no-huddle plays in the league. Why are they in such a hurry? We'll get there when we get there. It was another great showing by Jaden Daniels, a.k.a. Robert Griffin IV. He layered passes everywhere and connected with Terry McLaurin on a big gain. Daniels has the most rushing yards through the first 5 games. I can't believe he tops Bobby Douglas. Things got weird when Greg Olsen forced another man to suckle at his teat. Brian Robinson got the red zone glory with 2 scores and absolutely balled out after at hide and seek. Found you, sucker! Fuck this game. It started by talking about the weather, and it never got better. Even the graphics wanted no part of this game. Hey, get back here. Oh yeah, give me those delicious field goals. So much leg. No! Even the goalpost wanted no part of this game. Betrayers! Jacoby Brissett scrambled and led with his head. He has no plans after football, and if he did, he won't remember. The refs started making up new penalties just to see who noticed. What the hell is breading, and why is it 17 yards?
Siri, find me the closest massage parlor.
This game was an infomercial for day drinking. The Patriots were driving late when finally the Lord intervened.
This is the end of the game.
It was Trevor Lawrence's birthday, but he was giving gifts to Brian Thomas Jr. and Brenton Strange.
Every scoring play subject to automatic review.
Yeah, we know. Most coaches carry their challenge flag in their pocket, but not Doug Peterson. He has a whole man to carry his. He also carries his Altoids and lip gloss. The man's a purse. Tank Bigsby ran over and threw defenders on his way to 2 scores. Finally, a positive tank associated with this team. Joe Flacco developed the technology to run in slow motion. They even showed it again in actual slow motion. We don't have that kind of time. Flacco chucked it to Alec Pierce, and this game started to sweat. Peterson was headed towards a huge relief, or the firing squad. Either way, he needed a cigarette. Relax, Doug. The Jags got their first win of the season. Happy birthday, Trevor. C.J. Stroud launched a bomb for Nico Collins, and after, he posed as his portrait was being painted like a president. Collins disappeared into the medical tent. Running faster than recorded history sometimes leads to boo-boos. Father Runsu Fadakashi, show me what it was like to be born. That mother is very dead. Josh Allen had some issues hitting his receivers again. I don't know much about interviewing, but this seems extremely close. In the end, it came down to 1 foot and a ball that both zigged and zagged for 3. Derrick Henry got his 100th touchdown. Unfortunately, he was also caught in the end zone for a safety. An amazing feat until you realize Sam Hubbard went completely unblocked. It looked like Hubbard was wearing a shock collar. Whatever it takes to keep him from pissing on the drapes. This game was a vicious back and forth. Joe Burrow threw for nearly 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Jamar Chase caught nearly half of that and 2 scores. Lamar Jackson ran in circles and tossed over 300 yards on his own, including 4 touchdowns, one of which seemed as unlikely as it was likely who caught it. This game went to overtime, where Lamar Jackson fumbled it away, and the Bengals missed a chance to win it. Will no one win this game? Derrick Henry said. Get on board. Brock Bowers had nearly 100 yards and 1 touchdown after he went up to get it. Things turned sour soon after when Patrick Surtain, the sequel, picked off Gardner Minshew and took it the distance. But there was a flag.
He locks onto Gardner Minshew. Now Gardner Minshew's not going to know how to get off a block and just pancakes him.
Never mind, they threw the flag into the sun. Why? I have no idea. I blacked out after pancake and woke up with syrup on my stomach. Here comes Bo Nix, the oldest young man in the NFL. He had 3 scores, connecting with Jaleel McLaughlin and Josh Reynolds, and dipping the tip on his own. Javonte Williams led the Broncos in receiving and rushing. Teach him how to pass and kick, and let the lot of them go. Every game should just be a one-on-one at midfield. I guess a duel. I'm really advocating for a duel. The Broncos center doinked himself in the taint, and Bo Nix jumped on it. It's a team sport. There's no I in taint. Minshew was picked off again, and Aiden O'Connell came in, only to be picked off as well. Antonio Pierce called his best play. Start the car. Behold, the longest Murray scurry in history, 50 yards. Brock Purdy started the day well, finding Kittle for score. Brandon Ayuk finally found all the yards he'd been missing. Kicker Chad Ryland had just joined the Cardinals. He had a kick blocked and returned by Edgar Allan Poe's side character, Diamador Lenore. Some unlucky interns paid their dues, shading Murray like a pharaoh. Did they bring that, or did they rob a PVC pirate ship? We're still a few weeks away from Halloween, but the 49ers faithful took it upon themselves to dress up as an ungodly number of empty seats. Chad Ryland got the game-winning field goal, forcing his teammates to learn his name. Daniel Jones was tricked by his own linemen, and I held my breath, awaiting a crab walk for a first down, only to be disappointed again. Brian Dable was running Daniel Jones like he was his beneficiary. They went for it on 4th and goal, and Eric Gray fumbled. It negated a 10-minute drive by the Giants. Rayshon Jenkins returned it the other way, in less time than it takes to microwave a frozen burrito, which is how I hope he was rewarded for this play. He earned those carbs. Luckily, Gray wasn't the only runner for the Giants. Rookie Tyrone Tracy earned $1.29 on the ground. Darius Slayton had a big day, 122 yards and a touchdown, but he was flagged for finger guns. That's a violation of his Second Amendment rights. You can have his finger guns when you pry them from his cold dead gloves. Geno Smith was sacked 7 times. Someone install an airbag in his face mask already. It's seen more front-end collisions than Jenna Jameson. The Seahawks had overtime within sight, but Isaiah Simmons blocked a field goal, and Bryce Ford Wheaton ran the Hawks out of their own stadium. Jordan Love can throw huge bombs with pinpoint precision, but he can also throw the dumbest interception of the week. Regret! Kyron Williams was running buck wild. He had 100 yards without breaking a sweat. It's just an expression. He was sweating all over the place, which is probably why he fumbled. Invest in towels. What's up with that white spot on the side of Sean McVay's hair? Is he that little boy from The Sixth Sense? I'd get jacked too if I had to fight ghosts all day. I see dead people. Rookie Jordan Whittington led the Rams in receiving. He became Stafford's safety valve, the most famous of all valves. The Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula showed his Super Bowl ring in comparison to his grandfather's Don Shula's. Only 2 diamonds? What am I, poor? My Super Bowl ring needs to be large enough in volume and weight that it requires all 4 fingers to hold, and small animals deviate from their intended walking paths due to its natural gravity, encrusted in the bejeweled bones of my enemies and rolled in a mixture of gold flakes and their family's ashes. You know, a ring. Tucker Kraft led the pack in receiving. He made Rams defenders look like grade school alcoholics on his way to 2 scores. It took half the game before each team breached the end zone. Finally, said a groundskeeping crew that just wanted a modicum of appreciation. Introducing Nick Herbig, failed gynecologist. Justin Fields took a monster hit, and it wasn't encouraging when he tried to take the next snap from under the Coke machine. TJ Watt got his 100th sack. Where does he put them all? Some kind of sack shack? Which is a shack built for sacks and sometimes snacks. I hope he nails them to the wall like that guy in Major League. Now that I think about it, hang some air fresheners too, or it's gonna have more funk than Kool in the Gang.
Cheeseburger.
Rip.
Rico Dowdle upchucked at the goal line when Landon Roberts dove all the way from Pop Warner to force the ball out. But Prescott was Johnny on the spot. He'd been falling face first all day. Who knew it was a warm-up for a game-saving play? Welcome to Indiana Jones and the kingdom of the misappropriated culture. I'm kidding. Missouri has no culture. It was a big game for former Chiefs who returned. Juju Smith-Schuster broke off some big games. Kareem Hunt had over 100 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 assaults. I am always amazed by these off-platform throws by Patrick Mahomes. What a goat. Kelsey lateraled again. Coaches love when you make shit up. Come on, Kelsey, read the playbook. It's not an actual book. Mahomes was picked off at the goal line after a deflection sent it to big man Kalen Saunders. He rumbled like a freight train, fueled by beef Wellingtons, all the way past the 35. Hear me out. New return man? Let him put the team on his back fat. Dennis Allen said the team wasn't executing. And if we're looking for an execution, let's start with Travis Kelce's barber. How does he look both younger and older at the same time? He looks like he's auditioning for a restraining order. High five! Fuck! Remember this moment when the Chiefs get the three-peat. They had to go through the likes of Jake Haener. I guess it would have been too obvious to build a schedule entirely of hammocks.
And now the soft pretzel of the week.
Yummy.
This week, the pretzel goes to Tucker Kraft, tight end for the Green Bay Packers. Last week, He had 4 receptions for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns versus the Rams. Kraft was one of my favorite prospects heading into the draft last year. He was drafted to the Packers in the 3rd round, which would have been an ideal landing spot for the tight end needy Packers if they didn't draft Luke Musgrave just a round earlier. But my conviction ran deep, so I snagged Kraft in every dynasty league that I could. And after 22 games, I'm calling it. Tucker Kraft is the tight end to own in Green Bay. He's got more targets, more yards, and more touchdowns. And sure, Luke Musgrave has been injured some of that time, but I don't care. Pretzel for Kraft, victory pretzel for me. Nom nom nom. Thanks for watching Shut Up Football. We do appreciate it. Please leave your comments below. Say hi to your mom for me, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.